Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, this is Allie, and back with Find Your Joy. Huh, we have rock legend herself, Darby Mills. Darby Mills of the Darby Mills Project, formerly of Headpins, and oh my gosh, what else? I'm going to say Steelback, but I'm afraid I'm saying that wrong. But anyways, that's okay. Hi, Darby. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing really well. I love the backdrop. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing records in gold records and all kinds of stuff back there. How exciting is that?
This is where I've spent the last 900 hours, right here at this computer, this laptop. It's COVID. If it did anything, it made me I learned how to edit videos and create and put together so it's wonderful. It's stopped me from jumping, seriously, more than once, having something to be creative with and get it done. In the meantime, through COVID, I've put together 4, maybe 5 different videos for the band, and totally enjoying it. And now I'm working on my biggest project yet. It'll be 2 hours worth of work put together. It's not a movie, but whatever, we'll get there if we get there. So
yeah, no, that's exciting. And I think that's it, right? A lot of us during COVID, we kind of, well, it was, I don't know, some people did other things, I suppose, but we just had to focus on something to not go nuts. And so were you doing a lot of your own editing previously?
No, I tend to have watches and computers shut down when I go buy them. I have that. I have that ability. If only I could make money at it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you want your computer messed up? Just have me over. It's all good.
That's right. It'll be perfect. I am much the same way. That's my gifting as well. So I was, I was thinking about where to even start today, because there is so much. I mean, I want to just say, first of all, thanks for being here. I mean, me and every other woman, especially for the last 40 years, have been living vicariously through you, this powerhouse, power voice, playing rooms and gigs that so many dreamt about. So thanks for that. Thanks for taking the hits for so many of us, because I'm guessing it wasn't really easy along the way. Let's just get that out there first of all. Yeah. And I think the first time I'm trying to remember if I saw you at a school dance first or if I saw you at the Caribou Hotel. But I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. And wow, what's some of the motivation, other than you obviously love it and you're incredibly good at it? What's some of the things that have been keeping you going along the way?
I was asking myself that question about 2-3 months ago. This has been a terrible year for the project, and I'm trying to figure out why it's been so bad. Who's to blame? What could we have done different? I've cried publicly lately regarding the situation that I find myself in. But I got called to do a jam in Kelowna from an old friend who I haven't been on stage with for 40 some odd years. And I went going, what the heck? I'll go do it. 6 songs I hadn't sang since 40 years ago or close to it. And he had it sounded super, super good. And I got up on stage and sang those songs, no pressure. It was a full house, even though it was an emergency jam, because the local band the band that was booked that night had canceled for whatever reason. And so I got up and was singing, and it was like, that's why I do this, just because I love to do it. Yeah. With all the crap that comes along with the arts and business, because it's the music business. If you can, it's like the old song. Oh my goodness, who did it? The Roadie song. It's ancient, but done by.
Just a second. Silver Bullet.
I know, right?
Right. Bob Seger. Bob Seger.
No, it's not Seeger. No, it's a more of a folky artist. Oh, anyway, the thing you do the least in this profession is actually being on stage and singing. So,
Right.
yeah, through COVID, no work. Basically, through COVID, whenever there was a bit of a break, we'd get out and try to get a gig in with less than 50 people in the club or in the room, and the masks and the screens and it was just like, this is such a crazy world. Like, wow, is it ever going to end? And it kind of has, but I think that for me anyway, the industry has changed quite a lot or morphed. And again, it's the music business. There are people that are in power. There are people that can pull the rug out from under you. And yeah, if you burn bridges like I did by leaving the Headpins, it's a long fight to get back in. But as I said, a couple of weeks back, I got up on stage, not pushing a band and not carrying a load, just to have fun. It was like, that's why I do this, because
Yeah.
it's in my blood. It's what I've done since 17 years old. So, and I'm a lot older now.
Slightly. We're the same age, so I get it. So what do you think that is? Why do you think that is that people, because I'm going to just guess, and I don't know. Is it partially when people go solo and there's some resistance? So I get that there's the powers that be that are behind the curtain that we're never going to know about, and that's, I get that part of it. But is there still some kind of a pushback, do you think, from people that, I'm going to say that people that have a celebrity? There's a thing that the audience can do sometimes, in that they or we or whatever we're going to call it have decided this is who you are, and if anybody tries to go out a different way, I think sometimes audiences can be a tad pissy about it. Not all. I mean, I'm hopefully that you've got a strong enough fan base. I mean, certainly anybody I know who's been following you, but I think that there's sometimes a little bit of a pissiness that can come from audiences where we've decided this is who you are, and if you go any other way, do you think that has anything to do with it, or what have you been?
There's as many different opinions on how to enjoy music as there is music. I have a dear friend who has a sister. We're all the same age, basically. And my dear friend who has ended up coming out on the road with me and working with me on the road, this was not her business. She just left hers to help me out as a solo artist. She gets very territorial when it says the Headpins, and it's my voice, but it's not my picture and stuff like that. Whereas her sister's like, well, I just love the music, so it just doesn't matter, right? And
Isn't that something?
I don't take it personally, although I got to say, it's like, yeah, 40 years, 40 years, 36 while I was in the band, that I gave it my all. I don't think there's more than, well, I can't remember a show I didn't go out and try to hit the scream and turn it loud with all my might. Granted, in that many years, there might be a show or two that I was kind of pissy, and there might be some people out there that are mad at me for being pissy, and I apologize. I am not a god. I'm simply a woman doing her best, whether I'm fighting with the band or fighting with my kids or fighting with my husband. We get up there and try to make that our release. And some days it's just not. Some days it's your job and you're out there doing that instead of being home or having to deal with issues behind the scenes nobody needs to know about. And, so we're people. Some of us are gods, there's the beavers of life and the swifts of life, and that's not it's not me. But yeah, just a middle to old age woman here doing her best just to stay relevant and just to find something in life to live for and to push forward to.
Yeah. Well, I want to mostly talk about what you're doing now, but I just want to say, and this is no disrespect whatsoever to the Headpins and what they're doing now. I haven't really looked at it because I knew you weren't there, and nothing against the band. I just followed you, right? Like so that's just my thing. I would say that when I see Queen touring, right? Queen, it's Queen and Adam Lambert. So that I know, right? So that I would know that. And Freddie Mercury sadly is gone. You're here still. So many people, if they see you, I would think it would be reasonable to have an expectation that you would be there. So that would be the only thing that I would say would be my preference as a person going to enjoy an evening of the Headpins. I don't know anything about who they've got going on now, but I would just appreciate it if it said the Headpins and whoever, like Queen. I think it said for a while there, I think even Paul Rogers might have fronted them for a while. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But it says Queen and Adam Lambert. Perfect. Now I know. I'm not expecting that Freddie has arisen from the dead to come and share with us this evening, right? So it's okay. So that's that's a long part of your history, and I get it. And you rocked it, and it was so fun. And there's so much stuff that you did. And we can talk about anything that you want about that. What I really want to know is, what are you doing now? Like, where can we find you? Where can we? I want to know about where you're playing now and the music that you're doing now. I've been online listening to some of it, and I'm loving it. I just have to tell you that. And don't you make jewelry? I'm trying to find where your jewelry is, because I have so many friends sporting your jewelry, and I'm like, so there, the floor is yours.
Where's mine? I do make jewelry. My mom had passed away. It's been 8 years maybe now. And in sorting out their house and all their possessions that had to find a new home, I came across a box of black velvet chocolates, or a black velvet chocolate box. And I opened it up, and inside were labeled, and all in their single compartments, rocks that I had collected as a child. But I loved rocks. I spent a lot of time on rivers and at the lake, and some of them were just rocks, but for some reason I had them. But some were really pretty, and they had just come into my possession. My mom had kept them all these years, like moms do, crazy moms. Mm-hmm. And so I made a necklace out of one of them for me, just because I did it. And some girlfriends saw it and went, oh man, I love one of those. So I made some for them. And then I made some more, and then I bought some more supplies, and then it became 6 months after Mom had passed. My husband had a heart attack here at home. I wasn't home. He died in the ambulance in our driveway. They broke 10 ribs, bringing him back to life. It was just a blah, blah, blah. And so while we were kind of nursing him at home, I spent time downstairs just being creative so that I didn't lose my mind. And it turned into a wonderful, as an artist, source of income, because artists are always looking for another way to make money. I make at a show now probably less than I did when I was in a bar band with Steelback pre-Headpins, because the arts seem to just always be, can you give us a break? The club's been under the weather or whatever, and it's just kind of like, yeah, we know. So have we. And now it costs twice as much to get there. But whatever, that's the general whine of most of the musicians in my position anyway at this point in time. So started doing that. I'm up to almost 700 pieces now that I've made, and I've donated quite a few to charities, and managed to sell the rest, which has been, again, just a wonderful outlet. If you're a creative soul and you're not creating, you go crazy. That's my take on the last however many years since I realized my career was not fulfilling me, and I felt underappreciated and underutilized. No matter how I tried to bring more to the picture, it was just go sing, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't mean to flag, but that's how I felt. And it was like, you
No,
know
I
what?
think you're just sharing feelings. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
And just realizing losing mom and my husband, which I didn't lose, but I thought for an hour or two, I thought I lost him. It was like, what am I doing? I was 57 at the time, and what am I doing? I'm every day that I go to work, I'm unhappy because it's not fulfilling what I think I should be doing. And yeah, so unfortunately, sometimes you got to burn the bridge to make sure you go to the other side, so you can't fall back. And that's definitely what I've done, and ruffled a bunch of feathers, and so I pay the price. And that's, what do you do? That's what happens. It sucks, but that's what happens.
Yeah, you get up and you move on, and you're just like you're doing, and you're creating more. My gosh, my hope is that there is a resurgence that is so much bigger and more powerful, and puts a spotlight on you even more than was already there, because I think that you have something that's the uniqueness of you is that you're well, your music is powerful. Your lyric, I've been are a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at now. Are you writing all of these? I don't know where they're all coming from. These new songs that I'm seeing come out.
I'm not sure which ones you're looking at.
Ah, right, of course.
Which one? Which one?
Well, the one thing I was looking at a bunch of I was listening to, and again online, right? Because I haven't purchased these yet myself yet, big yet. Circle of Friends, The Garden.
Yeah, that's available. It's I had a label from Europe reach out to me going, I've got this song we'd love you to sing. And I get approached a fair amount from people going, yeah, I got a song I'd like you to sing on it. It's like, what? It's what's it worth to you? For one thing, it's worth 40 years of my hard time to have this voice. I'd love to give it away for free, as long as perhaps you buy my music in return. I don't know, it is my job as much as it's the arts. It's how I pay my bills. And lots of times I just have to say, I'm sorry, I can't. But he spoke. He's been in the business a long time. The names that were on the record, it's a multiple record. I think probably 40 different artists and vocalists on the record that that you're talking about. And there's two. And then I did a song for the second one too called House of Shadows. So Trick of the Light and House of Shadows are from the same company, different recordings, but all A-listers from Europe and around the world, and all just come together, put their part on and send it away. And that's what Circle of Friends 1 and Circle of Friends 2. And so I didn't write those, but I was the singer, and they sent them over to me. They said, do what you do and send it back. So I did what I do and sent them back. But yeah, wonderful. And for those, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch the videos, but those videos are that's me sitting at home going, I'm losing my mind, so I'm going to put a video together for this. Wow. So I think I'm getting better all the time. Like I said, right now I'm working on a 2-hour video. It's kind of a mini movie, which is the next project that's coming out. It's I don't know if you've seen the documentary Queen of Scream, but it's kind of like taking that to the stage, except it's 2 hours long and not 22 minutes long.
I did. Oh, so that's awesome. And so flying solo, I'm just thinking of the things that come off the top of my head. So you don't know, but the people who are listening do. I'm a person recovering with a brain injury. So take nothing personal when I remember nothing, because that's just my new life. 8 years ago, my life changed big time too. I got hit by a distracted driver. Then my mom died. Then my brother died, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of, I'm doing the same thing. So I'm saying that because please know that if I don't remember anything, it is no reflection on you at all. So there's an album came out, Flying Solo, had on it, I'm going to say Hot Water, a few other songs. And so tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about where that came, the inspiration. Was your first one coming out of the gates as a Darby Mill project type of a thing?
You know what? It's a re-release of a CD that I did in 91. actually called The Unsung Heroes.
Yes,
So
that's
it's
why
all,
it's familiar.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And
Oh,
that did well. It sold just under 40,000 copies here in Canada because I had a Canadian deal. I had an American deal right after the Headpins broke up, but the A&R, he sent me over to MCA, sent me over to Europe. I recorded at EIL PIE, which is Pete Townshend's studio. Met
right.
Pete on a daily basis, and Tina Turner, one of the producers from the Private Dancer album, Greg Walsh, was the producer for this. I had conga players from Mike and the Mechanics. I had Tina Turner's, one of her guitar players, Phil. I can't remember. Sorry, Phil, your last name. A wonderful project. I came home to finish writing the last 5 songs for the record, and to find out the A&R man that had signed me outside the Headpins had been let go. There was a new A&R guy, and at the time my manager and I flew down to LA because EIL PIE, the studio, was going, your record company's not returning our calls. What's going on? And we're like, what? Like, oh. We fly down to the office in LA and meet the new guy. And he's like, well, I'm going to break a female artist this year. It's between you and Tiffany. So you know the story. And it's like, oh, why would he pick up someone else's project and continue on with it? Right. So I
Right.
came home unsigned and basically spent a year in bed going, I'm done, because I had just been fired from the Headpins prior and ended up with the deal, which was really odd. But that's what happened. And so, yeah, it's been a crazy
Oh
ride. And
my
again,
gosh, it's just unbelievable that you just keep coming back stronger. To me, you just keep coming back stronger every time. You know what? That makes sense to me why there is some familiarity to it, because that's is it completely the same album?
yeah, I
Wow.
did
Oh, that's why. This is great.
yeah,
I remembered
so
something. Hallelujah. I'll just celebrate that for a minute.
yeah, I got a video out from Warner. I was signed to Warner in Canada, and they put one video out to the song called "Cry to Me," and it's a fun video. And at the time, MTV and Much Music were kicking into big time gear because this was 91, 92. And I had 4 radio singles, but only 1 video single. And I was competing with, songs that were coming out that were getting videos on MTV and Much Music every day. And, Cry to Me had kind of done its path, and it's like there was no follow up. So, and that eventually turned out to be, well, you don't have any singles. I'm like, well, you're not promoting them. How do I have a single if nobody knows? Well, anyway, at least there was radio back then, which
Right.
radio doesn't, as an old artist or a new artist, I don't know how you get radio airplay. It's all run by the same, it's the music business. It's
And we're back to this again, right? That it's
we're back to the politics of
excuse
dancing.
me. Yeah.
Yes, for
And
sure.
it's funny
Yeah.
because when people see, it's and everybody knows this who's around. If you're around music at all, you're doing something and people are coming and saying things like, how come you don't? Like they just thought of it. Like this is a revelation. Oh my gosh, you're right. Why don't I do that thing? Why don't I? Well, because
My my favorite is, when are you going to put out something new? And I have to reply, well, I've put 2 CDs out in the last 3 years. Do you have either one of those? It's like, you
yes.
have? It's like, when am I going to do something new? Like, how do you answer that? It's like, I have. Where have
Right.
you been? But then again, it's publicity and letting people know, and social media, which is where I spend I don't know how much time these days. And there's certain tricks of the trade, and sometimes like downloads and streaming, that's a whole business there too. And if you don't know how to work it or have the patience or the money, because
The
you can
money.
pay to get on playlists, you can pay. Again, it's the music business. And yeah, I do what I've discovered. I do what I can do. We've talked to some publicists, and it's just kind of like, wow. starting again at 64. So
Right.
here we go. You
Here
know,
we go.
what else? Yeah, here we go. What do you do?
Well, when you think of it, when I think of the people that we've seen that, like, you have such longevity, right? I mean, now this is from the outside, right? When I'm looking in and what I see, not in the inner circle of seeing you lying in bed crying for a year or trying to figure out this stuff. Like, I don't see you in the fetal position. I'm not, but what from the outside looking in, I see a powerhouse who's, I'm looking at you at 59 and I'm thinking, holy crap, she looks like she did back when I was at the Caribou, like, I mean, like in 1979 or so. I don't even know when.
It's good lighting.
Well, you're in great shape though, right? I mean, lighting, whatever, but you're still like, you've kept this all going, right? And I just think, and every once in a while, I'm like, oh, look, Darby Mills is like reinventing herself again. Look at this. I mean, it's like she was a figure skater. Now she's a jewelry designer. Now she's off, now she's creating videos. She's making new albums. She's doing all this stuff. So I hope it gives you hope. There, that's just a writing faux pas right there. That's like the worst, but that's what I see from the outside. I mean, whatever else is happening, those of us observing from afar.
Yeah, you didn't mention 9 years as a Taekwondo instructor. I took my two sons and I through black belts as and I was one of those hockey moms that wouldn't shut up in the sidelines. Said either shut up or get your teacher, and then got my black belt, taught for it's either 7 or 9, I don't know. Talk about not remembering years, and then finally had to vacate because I kind of felt like it's like this is not where I want my life to go. I don't want to be 75 teaching at someone else's Taekwondo school. It's like I there's only so many years left that this poor old body's got. Even though the Taekwondo kept me in shape, and I invented a kickboxing class while I was there, I came up with these motions and moves and stuff like that. And then once I left Taekwondo, I taught for about 3 years that, and have just decided that I'm just going to do it in my basement. So 3 times a week I work out with this program that I've come up with that is kind of keeping me in shape. And, I'm grateful for it. After so many years standing all day long teaching Taekwondo, you can't just come home and sit around, right? Because your body will let you know. So I've tried to stay in shape. I'm
gonna write that down. You mean sitting home binge watching Netflix? Is that where part of my problems are coming? I'm gonna write that down so I remember.
Well, I've watched all of Netflix, so
and I've read the whole computer.
Yeah.
There's nothing left. I finished the internet. What else are we going to do now after COVID, right? It's like, oh my gosh. So when you said that you developed, I'm going to go down that rabbit hole for a minute. So when you said that you have developed a workout, a kickbox workout, is this, because I'm going to make sure everybody, all 3 listeners, okay, at the end of this, I want to make sure everybody knows anything that you're doing. Is this something that people can, you're creating videos. Have you created a video somehow where people can go and follow along with you and do this kickbox thing or purchase that? Is that?
I did originally. It was called Zenetics, and it's all to music, of course.
Yes, of course.
How can you motion without being in the groove? So it's 4 different elements. I explained it so many times when I started doing it, and I worked really hard to try and bring people in, and then trying to figure out they needed all the elements because there's a mini trampoline involved. Even though you don't really bounce on it, you don't leave the ground. It's all reverse. It's pressure pushing down rather than jumping up, so you're keeping your muscles engaged. There's a whole principle to it that just came to me out of the years of teaching Taekwondo, and as a figure skater, knowing some of the physical things that you had to do to stay in shape for there. But and then as a kid, I used what was the boys' toy Meccano,
Oh yeah,
which
yes,
is
yes, yes.
which is where you have to learn that you can't bend a piece of metal like that, right? You have to bend it like this. So I kind of got a fairly good understanding of how the frame, the body, the bones in the body work. And so I designed this workout to be zero impact. Having broken my ankle testing for my black belt, so that was fabulous. And so I couldn't jump anymore. So I'm like, I can't just sit around. I have to do something. So I came up with all these exercises that keep my heart rate up, but don't have me um, jarring anything. I could go on and on and on, but no, I don't teach anymore. The amount of gear, I went out and bought all this gear for 4 different people to train. And I had 3 people at one time and dragging all these mini trampolines and all these weighted balls and all. It was like, ah, anyway, so no, I'd had enough, and I'm just going to do it for myself at home
Right.
whenever I want. I don't
Yeah.
have to get out of my slippers. Well, I do to get into my running shoes, but I don't have to get in my jacket and drive to the
Yeah.
studio.
So there's no
Yeah.
video we can go purchase or watch online to follow along. That doesn't exist.
Well, one of the things that stopped me is because I don't use unpublished music. All the songs, there's it's a 90-minute workout, and all those songs are songs that have a lyrical content that are, if not healing, they're motivating, they're positive, they're a few fight songs just to get that extra bit out. And as I was recording, I recorded for 2 weeks with 2 cameras and got all the positions and everything going. And then I'm like, I'm using published music.
Right.
So I have to be like do I want to go pay to use this? I have no idea how many people are going to tune in, because I was going to do it via, and I just was like, oh my, what am I getting myself into? This is way beyond what, so I didn't
love
bite.
you. You're on. I so relate to this. I'm going to go on and it's scooting off and I'm doing this thing. And then, yeah, that's a lot.
But no, but it's kept me fit, and I've never stopped doing it, even through, I've 3 times over COVID, I got quite sick, not with COVID, over other things. And yeah, you just start to realize life
yes, it's ticking. It's ticking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the figure skating, rock star, taekwondo, kickboxing, jewelry making. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a lot. I'm tired listening. That's like, it's amazing. Like, you just do so many things. So Darby Mills project, what's happening with that? Like, the places, so you're still looking for places to play. There's the politics of the world that are going on that may be bringing conflict in there. Maybe looking for different places to play. How's that looking for you? What's happening?
Well, you need certain things to work in the business these days. I guess you always kind of did, but I was always part of a team that was, had a history. And unfortunately, as we've discovered and understand, like Steve Perry, Ann Wilson, have commented that they make, as solo artists, 1/3 to 1/4 what they make as Journey or Heart. Right.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm not alone. I did the first 3-4 years that we came out before pre-COVID, we were doing really good. We had some momentum, and the next year was going to be incredible. 2020 we were breaking the glass ceiling in 2020. We were doing things that I was told when I left the Headpins I would never do.
Right.
And we were like, all right. And then, 2020 happened. So 2022, a lot of those, we had deposits, so those gigs happened, but people weren't fully back coming back in 2022. There was still a little bit of fear, and we fulfilled all those gigs, and then this year has been just terrible for us to work, for me to work anyway, and we're trying to figure out what that is. You can lay blame here, there, whatever. The fact is that we didn't get a lot of work this year, and that's the first time besides the COVID time. And I'm being brutally honest, and it's embarrassing and fearful, and so it's like, but again, so reinvent again. If that's not working, if it's burnt bridges, if it's just the fact that people don't care that the voice is still singing those songs, I don't know what it is. I can't answer that. All I can do is continue to try.
Yeah.
So this new project, this 2-hour project that I'm working on right now, is going to come at music in a total different avenue and venues. It'll be different venues than I've ever played or haven't played for a long time. And we're hoping we're going to reach out to, as I call them, and there's no disrespect, because as you can see, I am a gray hair. I haven't dyed it for quite some time, but it's gray. And
as am I. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide for the show in December at the Roxy, December 8th.
Yes.
Do I dye it, or do I stay silver? It looks terrible in pictures, but it's who I am. It's just, do I go with real? Doesn't appear like anybody else is real these days. Everybody else is something that they're not. So what do I follow? Where do I go?
Yeah.
Being true to yourself sometimes is a scary road. When you're true to yourself and everybody else, it's like you said, some people don't care. They just want what they know. Anyway, yeah. So the project is going to play December 8th at the Roxy in Vancouver. We're looking forward to. I know I've got a bunch of very old friends coming out, and I'm looking forward to seeing. And what happens with that from there, we'll see. Where I do have some new agencies reaching out, which is a pleasant surprise. Again, we got to watch the burnt bridges, although it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. You follow your heart, or you follow your brains.
Yeah, it's a hard one to know, right? And sometimes I'm just thinking about, so many people that I know and that I've watched over the years. Sometimes there's this whole stripping down process that occurs, and what comes out of that. I mean, and maybe that feels like, oh, shut up, I don't want to, but it's just, sometimes I see a stripping down process that comes with whatever it is, whether it's a burnt bridge, or it's a new project, or it's a brain injury, or whatever happens to us. Something happens, and out of the rubble comes I don't know, it's like all of a sudden one little flower pokes its head out, or the phoenix comes out of the ashes, whatever it is. And for me, I'm looking forward to, I'm very sorry that you're having to go through this process that is uncomfortable and painful and probably financially sucks and all those kinds of things. But I don't know, I just have this picture in my mind of rubble, and then all of a sudden this beautiful, I don't know, a locust or some flower comes up out of there. And I have no doubt that something incredible will come out of this, because that's who you are. Look at me, as if I know. I'm just saying, as an observer, I'm just going to say, and as a person, you just get a feeling talking to somebody, even if it's on Zoom and, whatever. I just feel like, I don't know when, I don't know how, but something so incredible is going to come out of this, and I'll speak that out, and take that as you will. But because how could anything else happen?
I have no idea. All I do know is, and one of the 2 phrases that have got me through the last 3 or 4 months going through this year is, my husband said to me as I was complaining one day, he says, "Darby, nobody owes you anything." And I was like, you know what? if I look at life that way, it becomes, it's cleaner. It's just like the slate is clean, and it's like, yeah, you know what? You're starting again. It's all open. Just go
Yeah.
for it. Nobody owes me anything. Just move forward. And the other one, when I left, was my past. Tried to leave my past. It was the saying, or I don't know if I came up with it. Most likely not, but it feels like I did. That
Yeah.
There is always going to be challenges. There's always going to be hurdles that you're going to have to jump, no matter what path you take. So jump the hurdles that get you to where your destiny is. Quit following someone else's path and expecting to end up where you want to be. You know, unfortunately, if that takes burning bridges, then sometimes that's what you have to do. So
Yeah. You're very, but I like what I've seen, like, and again, right. I mean, I'm just seeing things on social media, but I'm going to say that you've been very gracious from what I've seen. Now, maybe, like you, whatever in the world that you said, whatever you said in the beginning, I can't remember, something about if you'd offended someone or something, you were sorry. And, in any given day, we're human. So we're going to be tripping and clumping over each other. That's just how that's going to go, right? That's unfortunate, but it's human. So, we all just need to get over ourselves a little bit. But you've been really gracious. I haven't seen publicly anyways you ever say anything except, I don't understand why this is happening. I wish them the best, or this is not against that vocalist, or this is. So I think, when we walk things out cleanly, it seems to me that you have been doing. I mean, things do come back in a beautiful way, right? Well, now I'm being I don't know what. I'm not Yoda, so I don't know what I am. But I just, you're walking this out.
Being an optimist is what you're being.
Well,
you're being an optimist is what
you're
doing.
It's how I see the world, though. I just, I look at my own life, right? I mean, I had 2 careers that I loved a lot, and I lost them both because a girl reached around in her car and picked up French fries off the floor of her car in the back seat while she was driving. Whatever. So the first few years sucked immensely, and now, the world went, my world went a whole different way, and I didn't see that coming. I didn't imagine that would be that way. And so that's just how I see that people who get up and continue to move forward and suck it up when they didn't do it right and go, okay, I could have done that better. Sorry. And now I'm going to do this thing. Beautiful things come out of that. And so that's what I see for you. Beautiful things. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to, there's 2 CDs that have come out in the last 3 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, or maybe even a little over. We remastered Never Look Back, and because I had a girlfriend drag me to a lady who does numbers.
Okay.
A numerologist, and I knew I was going to be re-releasing it because I knew that it didn't get a full shot, and I knew that I was going to be putting a band together, and so I had a name for it. And she's like, "No, number's wrong. It's all wrong. And I don't know. You need 8s. You need 8s." And so we figured out Flying Solo had 8s in it and was the correct name to name it. And so it's like, okay, whatever. I'll go with the flow. I won't fight your knowledge. And what that was is just we just added some bottom end to it, because when it was recorded in the 90s, it was only boom boxes in the back of cars that had that lower bottom end. Well, now you can almost get that out of your headphones anyway. So added a little bit of the subsonics, it's called, to it. And then I sang House on Poop Corner a cappella on it. I was supposed to do a harmony for the whole thing, but we had taken the SkyTrain into the studio, and we had to leave and I was going home the next day to catch the last Sky train out to out to the last station is where I was staying at the time. And so I was like, well, I guess we won't do a harmony. We'll just leave it as a cappella, one voice, and threw it on the album just to kind of introduce a bit of a change that I was going to start singing in a slightly different manner. Always been told I was a screamer, which is absolutely correct, but she's not a singer. She's just a screamer, right? It's like, but that's because that's what the job called for.
Yes.
I do have other things. I can do other things. I'd like to do other things. I've done other things. That's what this 2 hours it's called True Story, and it basically takes you through my 45 years in the industry. So, with tales and things like that, which I'm hoping people will be interested in, and the gray hairs in the soft cedars. So, yeah, it's kind of like a non-musical play type thing. Anyway.
Good. True Story. Well, we'll be looking for it, and I can't wait for that. That's going to be great.
Yeah, well, we're hoping, we're hoping. And that's a whole different part of the business, and I'm sure it's got its pitfalls and mountains to climb. But so the project, our Stay Together, the band from the project will be coming with me to True Story, and then if there's gigs out there for the project, we will obviously, as long as we're not having to pay to leave home to do the shows, which is don't offer us something knowing that it's going to cost us that for flights. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
We're not kids anymore. We're all grown-ups with homes and bills, and to leave home, you got to make enough money to pay people. That's so, just trying to be wise business people and find a path that works. And I'm excited about True Story. It's I got about 300 hours into the editing at this point, and I'm about 300 short. So, here we go. But you just got to keep trying. It's not how many times you get knocked down; it's how many times you get back up. And it's the bad days come, and hopefully they go, and then you have another coffee, and you go downstairs into the studio, and you keep working.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait for all of these. And Darby, I thank you so much for just your generosity of time and spirit. You were just I have to tell you that you were so easy to put all this together with in such a short time for me. I really appreciate that. And I just can't wait to continue to watch and follow you along and see all the magnificence that is you unfold. And I'm looking forward to it all. So this is Allie, and this is Find Your Joy. Oh, yes?
Yeah. If anybody wants to go look at the jewelry, it's on
yes.
darbymills.com. The Phantom Designs. It's the jester. The Joker is the logo. So just look for the Joker.
Oh my gosh.
Joker in the So darbymills.com. It's all.
That's
on there.
awesome.
Yes,
okay, well, I will make sure that all of that is in the show notes. Like that'll be there that people will know how to find that too. That is fabulous because Christmas is coming and it's time to get some original.
I just put a line out of 20 pieces. Usually in 24 hours, I usually do 12 to 15 pieces. They're all gone. This time they didn't go that fast, so I'm quite surprised and like going, what? Wait a minute, Christmas is coming.
That's
Hello,
right.
Everybody.
Well, I'll be posting that. I'll post that today. I'll put a link to that today. So that people have time to be able to order it and stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with me today. This is just great. And to the listeners, hey, she's got some CDs coming out. She's got shows coming out. The Roxy, she's got more jewelry. Thanks again. Thanks, Darby, so much. And this is Allie, and Find Your Joy. And please do remember that you are loved. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.